guys! This morning I will be showing you how to make this absolutely adorable flower pattern either by itself or if you want to continue following along, turning it into this granny square that of course you know you can do so much with. I'm actually going to be making a bunch of these granny squares in different colors as you can already see and making my first bag with it, so I'm very excited about that. So I'm gonna make a cup of coffee and let's get into it. In today's tutorial, I will be showing you how to make the circle for the inside of our flower along with its double crochet, the petals, which are puff stitch, the outside, which is an assortment of different stitches, as well as the leaves, which are also an assortment of stitches. It's honestly a very easy project to follow along with, so I hope that you have a lot of fun with it. The materials you'll need are 4 different colors of yarn for the inside, petals, leaves, and the square on the outside, whatever colors of your choice. Then you will need a pair of scissors, a crochet hook. I'm using a 5mm crochet hook today, a darning needle or a yarn needle, and then you don't absolutely need stitch markers, but sometimes they can be helpful. So if you've got them, use them. We will first start by putting a slip knot around our crochet hook. If you do not know how to do this, go ahead and make your way back to my YouTube channel and you will find that I have a video posted on how to start your crochet for very beginners. And then come back to this video so you can make your first granny square. So from here, we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we need to join this end to this end. So I will poke through that first chain, pull up some yarn, and pull through my loop. It's a pretty small circle, okay? So I always just poke my finger through to make sure that I can actually fit things through the circle. From here, you're going to chain 2 again. 1, 2. All right, so this is going to count as a double crochet, and you need to make 11 more double crochet. So yarn over, into your circle, pull up some yarn, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops. Now I have 2 double crochets. Yarn over, pull up some yarn, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops. Now I have 3. You want a total of 12. So go at your pace, and if you need to start over, that's okay. All right, I'm gonna go through and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oop, I need one more. 12. I have 12 double crochets in my circle. Now I'm just going to kind of spread them out a little bit so that they can form a full circle. Once you've spread them out, you need to join it together so that it is a full circle. So I'm going to put a slip stitch through the first double crochet space that I made. Grab some yarn and just pull through. Now I have the center of my flower. From here, I'm going to switch colors. So you are going to want to cut off a few inches away from your piece of work. You don't want to be too close because you do need to have some yarn for tying off at the end. So I am just going to snip right there. And I'm going to grab my next color for my petals. Wrap it around my hands. From here, you are just going to grab your new color, pull through that loop, and then that green string or whatever color you were using, pull it tight so that it's almost invisible. Okay. We're gonna make a puff stitch. So you're actually going to pull up however long you want your petal to be. For me, that is about an inch, maybe a little more. And then in that same space, I am going to do 3 more of those. So just watch. In that space, I'm going to pull up some yarn. So that's 2. Pull up some yarn. That's 3. And pull up some yarn again. That's 4. Now I am going to pull some yarn through all of those loops. And now I'm going to tie them off together by pulling yarn again, pulling through that loop I just made, and pulling tight. So now I've got a petal. I'm going to chain 1. That's my first petal. Now in the next chain space, I am going to do 4 puff stitches again. So grab some yarn into that chain space, pull it up. That's 1. 2, 3, 4. Now to close off my petal, I'll take some yarn and pull through all of those loops. Now I have 2 petals. You're gonna do this into every single chain space all the way around until you have filled up your entire circle. you have all of your petals done, you will need to join this together. So we're going to make a slip stitch. If you tilt your work, you will see that you've got a chain space right here. I'm going to insert my hook into that chain space and make a slip stitch. So just grab some yarn and pull through your loops and then pull tight. Now we're going to switch colors. So again, to switch colors, I am just going to, from a few inches away from my work, cut off my yarn and grab my new color for my leaves. Now, the great thing about making the leaves is that if you don't do it absolutely correctly, that is perfectly okay. Because I think it's actually nice when leaves don't all look exactly the same. So to change our color, again, we are just going to put our new color behind our work. We're going to pull up some yarn through our previous loop and then pull that tight so that it becomes almost invisible. Now I'm going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now it's just kind of hanging like this. Honestly, you could make a Christmas ornament out of this. All right, so this is like the center of our leaf. From here, you are going to just make a single crochet into not the closest chain to your hook, but the second closest chain to your hook. So I'm going to insert my hook, grab some yarn and pull through, grab some yarn and pull through. So I did a single crochet in that space. In the next space, I am going to do a half double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over, push through, bring up some yarn, and instead of pulling through 2 loops and then pulling through 2 loops again, I am actually just going to pull that loop through my 2 loops. Into the next chain space, I'm going to do 2 double crochets. So this is to make the leaf a little bit wider. Yarn over, push through, pull up some yarn, pull through 2 loops, and pull through 2 loops. In the same space, I'm going to do another double crochet. Yarn over, push through, pull up some yarn, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops. Into the next space, I will do a half double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over, push through that space, bring up some yarn, and again, I am just going to pull that loop through the other 2 loops that were on my hook. In the next space, I'm going to do a single crochet. So I'm not going to yarn over, I'm just going to push through, pull up my yarn, pull through my loops. And now you have 1/2 of your leaf done. Now here's the finessing and maybe kind of tricky part. You're going to want to flip to get to the other side of the leaf. So what I do is I just chain 1. Let's set it down, flip it, kind of finesse it, and now it's like that. That's the best way that I can explain it on camera, honestly. So you want your hook on top still, but you want your yarn in the back, okay? Now we're going to crochet into that center of our leaf, but make the other half of our leaf. So in that first space, we are going to do just a single crochet, pulling through all of our loops. In the next space, a half double crochet, yarn over, push through, pull up some yarn, and then just pull through your loops. Now what comes next is our 2 double crochets in the same space. So yarn over, make your first double crochet, and in that same space we will do another double crochet. Now we're going to do a half double crochet, make sure you are pulling tight so that the leaf doesn't have a lot of open space. In our final space, we are going to do a single crochet, now I'm going to do just a slip stitch at the very end. And then I'm going to chain 1 and pull tight. So I've got a cute little leaf. She's not perfect, but she's cute, as she should be. So there's our leaf. Now this is where the stitch marker comes in. You could just fasten off your leaf right away, but I am going to just save my space, and through that last loop, I'm just going to put this chain marker, and I'm going to start working on my next leaf. Sorry, I just shook the table. Cut off my work. Oh, those scissors suck. And then I'm going to make my next leaf. I'm going to put my second leaf at the end of the petal beside this one. So not in the chain space directly next to the leaf, but the next one over. So you've got a little space between them. So I'm going to grab my yarn again, and I'm going to start making my second leaf. Just kind of shoving that other one aside for now. So to get this color on, I'm going to insert my hook through that chain space at the end of my petal, pull up some yarn, pull through that loop and pull tight. Great, now from here I can chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to do the exact same steps on the second leaf as we did on the first leaf. So if you feel really confident in that, you don't need to listen to me. You can just mute me. But if you really need to follow along again, just keep my voice on and we're going to go through this again. So not in that closest chain to your hook, but the next chain, we're going to put a single crochet. Insert your hook, pull up some yarn, and pull yarn through both of your loops. Now a half double crochet in the next space. yarn over, pushing through, pull some yarn up, and instead of pulling through 2 loops twice, you are just going to pull that first loop through the other 2 loops. Next, 2 double crochets in the same space. So moving into that next space, yarn over, push through, pull up some yarn, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops. Remember, in that same space, our second double crochet. In the next space, a half double crochet. All right, I need to yarn over. Silly me. And then a single crochet. And as you can see, you might actually have enough space for one more little slip stitch. So I'm going to put a slip stitch through there. Insert your hook. And then just pull through your loops. Now I'm going to do the little finesse, and I'm going to chain 1 and flip my work. So now I'm working on the other half. In that first space, I'm going to do a single crochet. There we go. Second space, a half double crochet. The next space, my 2 double crochets. Oops, I gotta yarn over. I'm really getting ahead of myself, guys. I'm almost like forgetting that y'all are here. So yarn over, push into that space, pull through 2 loops, and pull through 2 loops. Again, yarn over, push through, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops. In the next space, you know it, a half double crochet, so yarn over, pull up, and just pull that first loop through the other 2 loops. At the end, a single crochet. Oops. And then at the very tippy top, just a slip stitch. So pushing my hook through and then pulling yarn through my loops. And to fasten off, I'm just going to chain 1 and I'm going to pull tight. I've put a stitch marker on both of my leaves. Now this is where the yarn needle comes in, and you will need your yarn needle to close off or fasten off both of your leaves so that they don't ever unravel. So I'm going to take off one of these stitch markers. See how I've got this loop? We're going to keep that loop open, and I'm going to insert the end of my yarn into my yarn needle, which, as always, can be a little tricky as the eye of the needle is just so tiny. See, I actually ruined that yarn a little bit, but it's okay because it's going to be getting cut off anyway. All right, so now I'm just going to essentially tie a knot. And I'm going to do that one more time. Pulling all my yarn through. And now I've got a nice knot, and the end of my leaf looks nice and pointy. And I cut it off. So I'm going to get rid of this, and now we're going to move on to the next leaf. Oop. All right, from here, you've got your leaves done, they're fastened off. Now we just need to tie off our loose ends in the back. So I just match color to color and I do a double knot. Actually, if I'm being real, I think I always do triple knots just because I never ever want anything to unravel. But I'm sure a double knot is gonna do the trick for you. All right, now my purple ones. Snip those off. I really need a new pair of scissors. All right, and lastly, green. And now we've got our beautiful flower with its leaves. At this point, you can keep it like this and do whatever you want with this flower. I'm actually thinking next Christmas, I'm going to make a bunch of these in really festive colors and just put a hook on the end so that I can hang it up on my Christmas tree. But if you want to continue following along for the square portion to turn this into a granny square, let's go. So I've got my white yarn. I'm gonna grab my crochet hook, get this ready on my hand, and then where to start this is really key, because remember, you're making a square. So think of it as this is straight up. And at the top, you've got these 1, 2, 3, 4 petals. So just think of it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. In the 4th petal is where we're going to start. So we're gonna make our first corner. So putting that yarn behind my work. I'm gonna push my hook through. And I'm going to pull that tight. Now I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. In that same space, I'm going to make 2 triple crochets or treble crochets. I'm just gonna say triple because treble sounds weird to me. So this is going to count as 1 triple or treble crochet. Gosh darn it, what do I say? Triple or treble, triple or treble. We're gonna roll with treble. So 2 more of those. The treble crochet, you yarn over twice. So now I've got 3 on my hook. I'm going to insert my hook in that same space. I'm going to pull up some yarn, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops. That's a treble crochet. I need 1 more. So yarn over again, push through, pull up some yarn, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops. Fantastic. All right, now we are going to put 3 double crochets in the next one. So in this space between these 2 petals. One, 2, 3. This might be kind of tricky because you need to move the leaves around, but I'm sure you'll get it figured out. So in the next space that's actually between our 2 leaves, we will do another set of 3 double crochets. Let me unravel some more yarn. So let's make my first one. It's 1, 2, 3. All right, 3 double crochets there. And it's behind that leaf. All right. Now I am going to do 3 treble crochets into the next chain space between these 2 petals. 1, 2. So now I've got 3 loops on my hook. We're going to push through, yarn over, and then pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops, and pull through 2 loops. We need 2 more. All right, so I made 3 treble crochets. Now I'm going to chain 2. 1, 2. In the same area between these same two petals, I'm going to do 3 more treble crochets. That's 1. Gotta unravel some more yarn. That's 2. Oops. All right, and that's 3. In the next space, I will do 3 sets of double crochet. One, 2, 3. On to the next space, I will do 3 double crochet. One, 2, 3. In the next space, I will do 3 double crochet. So yarn over, push through, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops. That's 1. Two, 3. Now I will chain 2. 1, 2. In the same petal space, I will do 3 more treble crochet. One, 2, 3. So now that corner's done. In the next space, I will do 3 double crochet, 3 double crochet, and then you'll probably guess 3 treble crochet. I don't want to leave you though, so I will just continue to do this with you. But I think you've got the idea of how this is going. So 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3. Three double crochet, 1, 2, 3. 3 treble crochet, 1, 2, 3. Chain 2, and in the same petal space, 3 more treble crochet, 1, 2, and 3. So that corner is done. We're on our very last side, so I'm going to do 3 double crochet, 3 double crochet, and then 3 treble crochet. Whoop. My goodness, the yarn needle. All right, so now I'm going to do my final chain 2, 1, 2, and into that first 3, or sorry, the last of the 3 chains from when we started our square, that's where I'm going to insert my hook and make a slip stitch. Okay, from here we are going to just fasten off and we're going to tie it off. So I'm going to pull this up, cut it, cut it over here as well, and I'm just going to tie a knot. Okay, now I'll snip off those loose ends. Here is your granny square. So like I said, I'm going to make a bunch of these of different colors, and then I'm going to put them all together to make a bag. So what a lot of people do with this, and what I'm really excited to do because it's on the way, is a lot of people will spray this with fabric stiffening spray and pin their granny squares onto a board. I'm struggling to think of what it's called right now. It's like I don't know, a drying board, a stiffening board, something like that. But I will post it later once it's arrived, and I will show you the process of spraying them and putting them on the board so that they stay and they're nice, stiff little squares and aren't flimsy and folding. So I hope that you guys enjoyed following along and crocheting yourselves, and yeah, I'm excited to see what y'all do with this. Have a good rest of your day, guys. Bye.